verse 15, Matthew 18:15. If your brother sins, go and show him his fault in private, and if he listens to you, you have won your brother. But if he does not listen to you, take one or two more with you, so that by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every fact may be confirmed. If he refuses to listen to them, tell it to the congregational leaders. Tell it to the elders. Is that what it says? Tell it to the kahila. Tell it to the church. Now this is obviously a case for the local church, right? It's not talking about the universal. It's not talking about every believer in the world. Okay? But tell it to the congregation. Let him be, and if he refuses to listen to even to the church, to the kahila, to the assembly, to the Messianic synagogue, let him be to you as a Gentile and a tax collector. Truly I say to you, whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth shall have been loosed in heaven. Binding and loosing, halakhic measures. But my point is, who is the final voice here? The congregation. The people. It's not the leadership. Now, what I would say, does that mean the leadership hasn't? Well, the leadership's a part of that. Leadership's a part of it. I don't think Yeshua is dismissing leadership here. But my point is, the final say goes down to, by the way, right now, Beth Yeshua, our bylaws have an eldership-based model of leadership where the elders make decisions. But you know what? If I make a decision that's inconsistent and just decided to do something that's totally inconsistent with what you want as a congregation, you can say, well, my goodness, I guess the bylaws say that that's just the way it is. We just have to, and you seem to look through Scripture and you see, man, I don't think Philip's functioning biblically here. I think he's out of line scripturally. But, the bylaws say that he's in leadership, and that's just the bottom line. I guess we just go with that. No. Every single one of you have the right to step out, right, if I'm out of line. The point is, ultimately, I'm accountable to you. And leadership is accountable to the congregation. And that's important. I want to pull this out. No, I'm not making a phone call. No, I'm not receiving a call. But I do want to pull up a quote from the Didache. And again, we ask ourselves, what was the perspective of the early? And the Didache is probably the earliest document written outside of the New Testament. It's written in Greek, but it's written by Jewish believers to Gentiles. And they ask this. They kind of bring up this point about leadership. Therefore, appoint for yourselves, in the plural, meaning all of you. Appoint for yourselves bishops, episkopos, leaders, and deacons worthy of the Lord. Men that are meek, not lovers of money, and truthful and proven, for they render you the service of the prophets and the teachers. What is the perspective here? Who puts the leadership in place? The congregation does. They're the ones that have the voice on that. Now, I've told people, I've been spoken before, that I think that I would like to see our bylaws changed on that. But I want to say right now that as congregational leader, I stand in accountability to every one of you. And I am simply an under shepherd of the chief shepherd. And I stand on every one of you, and I'm called to these qualifications. And if I'm outside of that, you have a right to call me out on it. And it's important that you know that. Last thing, I'm going to read this from 1 Peter chapter 5. So we've seen that bishops and elders are synonymous. They're interchangeable. One more passage here that's important. And Peter writes this, and Peter's the Pope, right? I mean, yeah, he's the Pope. 1 Peter 5, and I read this last week. I'm going to read it again. Therefore, and Peter's been talking about a lot of different things. It says, therefore, I exhort the elders among you. presbyteros, as your fellow elder, and witness of the sufferings of Mashiach, and a partaker of the glory that is to be revealed. And he says this, shepherd the flock of God among you, exercising oversight, not under compulsion, but voluntarily, according to the will of God, not for sordid gain, but with eagerness, ready to do it, taking initiative. Nor let your lording it over those be allotted to your charge, but proving as examples of the flock. Now here's something interesting. Here Peter defines it as the term poimen, or roe, which is shepherd, and that's where we get the term pastor. So pastor, bishop, elder, we see them all being used interchangeable.